restorative justice is, but it might be worthwhile just to take a minute or two just to kind of give a little insight. Do you want to offer a little insight into what restorative justice practices are all about?
I don't have a general, like, I don't have a definition.
Sure, yeah.
But I can tell you what it means for me in the classroom.
That's
and for me within our school. I don't necessarily do restorative justice and practices every day in my room. I don't. But I do believe in the theory behind it of we have to be in a good headspace. We have to be in a good place. And to do that, we have to feel, again, safe. Right. And we have to be able to connect with the people who are around us, who are with us, and take any of that tension that might be there and really make sure that we're all feeling valued.
Right.
In the room.
Right. Absolutely. So Michelle's asking online, what should that look like, especially in a discipline program? And I think I can take a stab at that. Mm-hmm. So when we think about restorative justice, this is what I want us to think about. I want us to think about the difference between punishment and accountability. So when we kind of think about traditional practices, where students make a poor choice, do something they shouldn't have done, hurt somebody else, right? Then one school of thought is that we punish them, right? Another school of thought, and this is really, I think, where restorative justice comes from, is really more this idea that you should make amends, that you need to become accountable, and that in a lot of ways, the punishment precludes you from being honest and accountable for your actions. And the thing about restorative justice that just rings so true to me is that we as school systems are in the business of learning. And punishment is one kind of learning, but the space that, restorative justice practices creates, which is saying to a student, you need to be honest about what happened. You need to listen to how this hurt another human being. You need to figure out how to make amends for this. It doesn't mean you are consequence free. I think that's also really important to convey. But it's the difference between a student coming to school, nobody greeting them at the door, they don't have their homework done, so they get shamed. And then they get angry because nobody asked why they didn't have their homework done. And then they take it out on somebody, it comes out sideways at lunch. And then all of a sudden they're in the principal's office and all of a sudden they're suspended, right? Yep. So that's one model. Different model, and I feel like I'm going to just channel everything I know about you, which is, student comes to the classroom, you say hello, you're paying attention, the homework isn't done. Instead of immediately chastising the student, instead what you're doing is you're asking why, you're figuring out what's underneath. Is there a reason why? Did you not know how to do it? Is something else going on? How can we restore this, right? So how can we still learn from this rather than having a consequence or a punishment that shuts it down? And then if there's still problems, right? If there's still problems, it's bring in the family, bring in the guardians, and let's work through this. Let's figure out what's really going on. Do they have the support they need, the help they need? And I think that's really a kind of a way to think about this work differently.
One of the things that we do, especially in the freshman class as the coordinator, we don't do parent conferences one-on-one. We'll do a group conference where we'll bring in the family and we tell the kids all the time that we're not in trouble.
Right.
We're here to help you succeed.
Yeah.
We're doing this. We want to get on the same page. We want to understand you. We want to understand what's happening, and then we need to move forward.
Yep, absolutely. And Ingrid said online that the professional development part is so key, and she's absolutely right. I don't think that I can't think of a teacher I know who would say that they did not want to spend time attending to the social emotional needs of a child or of a student. But do you have the resources and the wherewithal to do it? That might be different, right? So that professional development, I think, becomes really important. One of the other things that we know a lot about restorative justice practices is they de-escalate, right?
Yeah.
So all the goal is de-escalation. And I've got 3 kids. I've got a 14-year-old, one who's almost 12, and an 8-year-old. I can tell you we got a lot of de-escalation going on in my house at any given time. And we have this little analogy that we use. When they get triggered, right? They use their word, I'm getting triggered. And we talk about it being like a pop bottle, that if you have a pop bottle and you shake that pop bottle and then you open up the lid, then it's just going to go all over the place, right? And so we talk about, well, all right, so what we don't want the pop to go all over the place. So we need to just open it a tiny little bit. We need to give it a vent. So we talk a lot about creating vents so that you can kind of slowly de-escalate, because then the pop doesn't go all over, as long as that carbonation has a little chance to fizzle out. And I think this is really what I think about in the classroom. To be honest with you, I think about this in the classroom all the time, and I think about ways that I can get really quiet. So the more frustrated, or even, inside I might be like screaming, what is going on here? That's not what's coming out, because I'm going to get quiet, I get low, and I get quiet. So that means I'm, face to face with them. I get down, on my knees if I need to.
Well, I have high schoolers. I'm standing on chairs to reach them.